So I actually started my Mary Kay business when I was 18 years old. When I first joined, I joined as a broke college student. What I love about Mary Kay is that I've seen it in different seasons of my life do different things for me. And so I know that people are in different seasons. Some have little kids, some aren't married yet, some are single, some are retired, some are empty nesters, some barely have two pennies to rub together, and some, have an amazing retirement that they already have. So I know that in each season, Mary Kay comes around for a different reason. And so I know that because of the different seasons I've been in with Mary Kay. Mary Kay came into my life when I was 18 years old. I was a broke college student. I was, for the first time since I was 8 years old, I was acne free because I was one of those people that had really bad acne. And I was acne free for the first time. My parents told me that they were not going to pay for my Mary Kay anymore because they were paying for school, which made me a broke college student. And it was $56 back then, so I joined just to get it half off. But at the same time, when I did that, the women back then loved on me and supported me, and they taught me about time management, emotional management, networking, how to dress, because I was so insecure. I went down the wrong path for a little bit. And so if you saw me, you probably jumped to the other side of the street. And these women did not. They loved me just the way it was. And back then we didn't have podcasts. Back then we had cassette tapes of people talking. So they taught me Zig Ziglar. And so I started listening to Zig Ziglar and other things. And then I was not brought up in a faith-filled home. And they taught me about Christ. And they shared a book with me. And I found Christ through them. And because of everything that I learned there after college, I went into corporate America, into the health profession. I was still doing my Mary Kay for myself, for people with coworkers, and I sprinkled it in. I was a single mom for the longest time. Oh, but before I was a single mom, I didn't know any other way to run a business except for the Mary Kay way. So when I started out, I was in an accounts receivable department. So I went out and bought everybody a baseball cap. And then I went off of Harwin and bought all of these bees. And every time somebody collected over $100 that was greater than 90 days, they would get a bee. And we had a bell, and they would ring a bell. And then they got these little necklaces also from me. And because they did so well, because they won all these things, they did well, they collected well, so they branched it out to different other sites. And then, anyway, it helped me with my other business because I learned how to treat people because it worked. So if you ever need any business stuff, this is another reason why I came to Mary Kay. But when I was 27, I was in corporate America. I was making really great money. I had a daughter at the time, and all of a sudden I was told that I was going to have to leave my job because of stage 3 breast cancer. This was the next season in my Mary Kay business when I picked up the kid again. I was going to be stage 3. I had to leave my full time and lose 65% of my income, lose 65% of my energy, and some days and most days it was more like 80% of my energy, if not more. So I don't know about how many of y'all, but how many of y'all, if y'all were told today that you would not be able to work, that you would be able to function. And I didn't have a choice. I had a daughter, I had a mortgage payment, I had a car payment, and Mary Kay in that season for me became it's what bridged the gap for me between being homeless and everything, and keeping the lights on. Mary Kay was that bridge. And so back then, I worked my business consistently even then. And so here's a picture of me being presented with some kind of awards, I don't know, when I was in the middle of chemos. So I would have one Saturday a month. So if you feel like,
you want to pass them around?
So if you ever feel like you don't have the time, I had one Saturday a month that I was healthy. One Saturday. And I would put all my appointments there. And so that really seemed to help just to keep focused and being intentional. It's something that I learned throughout here was being intentional with my time. So so this was Gabrielle at that age, and so I had to get a babysitter for her most of the time because even when I wasn't working, I needed somebody to take care of her because I couldn't. But I continue to do my Mary Kay, so I get excited when people say they have something going on in their life, and I don't try to prejudge them because of that, because I know that for me, when I was younger and broke and I didn't have 2 pennies to put together, that Mary Kay helped me back then, not only with financially, but it also helped me emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
And then when I got sick, Mary Kay helped me bridge the gap my funds. And then as I got older, as I don't even know, when I got older and I wanted to leave corporate America, I started my own company, but I still kept I knew how long it would take for my other company to bring in money. So my Mary Kay kit stayed open, and I kept seeing people and kept talking to people, and apparently somewhere in here is a young Mary Diem. So, back in, I don't know, this is like the 90s or something, I don't know. But anyway, but I kept my business going during that time. So when people saying, well, we just started our own company and we're not too sure, that's exactly why I did it, because I knew my Mary Kay, we're not like other direct sales where you have to wait for them to cut you a check and everything. Like literally I hand you the product and then you give me the money. And so that consistency was there. I don't know what I'm supposed to share, but I'm just going to keep going. Anyway, so in my journey with I started sharing all of that to say this, that as you're building your company, as you're talking to women, don't prejudge. It's one of the biggest things I've learned is not to prejudge anybody, because no matter what season they are in their life, you never know if they needed Mary Kay. After all was said and done, and I was married, and I had Gabrielle, and I was a stay-at-home working mom with my own business, with my own freedom and flexibility, I needed Mary Kay, because I was to a point where I wasn't really leaving the house anymore, except for when I absolutely had to. And Gabrielle wanted to join Mary Kay, and I went to the studio where you were, and I struggled to find what to wear that day because nothing fit. I gained 60 pounds. And I told my best friend, who is part of our team, she's been with me in Mary Kay for I don't know how many years, she's way back when, there she is again. But I told her, nobody looks at overweight people because they ignore us. And she said, do they ignore or do you hide? And I said, shut up. I said, no, they ignore us. And so I remember going to the grocery store at 11 o'clock at night, because that was the only time I would shop. And wearing clothes, I'd gained 60 pounds and not bought a stitch of clothing. So it was stretched out, worn out, hair wasn't done. 11 o'clock at night, I'm going down the freeze aisle. And as I go down the freeze aisle, this mother, Gabrielle was on the swim team, and one of the moms was coming. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so and so. And I remember turning my cart around, and I heard my friend's voice saying, is it that people ignore or do you hide? And I started to cry, and for the first one and only time ever, I just put my cart to the side and did not put anything up. And I walked up to the car and cried, and I went home. And then a couple of weeks later, Gabrielle wanted to join Mary Kay, and so I came to the studio, and everything changed, and I started to care about myself, and I became centered again, and I started to live my life again, focused God first, family second, career third, because y'all were so bold about your faith, and I had even stopped going to church because I just couldn't leave the house. So I continued doing that, and I was consistent. My husband one day told me, as I walked in from one of my classes, he says, you can never leave Mary Kay. And I said, how dare you? I can do whatever I want. He said, no, you have your joy again, and I have my wife back. And for that reason, you can never leave Mary Kay. And so in different seasons of my life, Mary Kay has meant something to me. So you never know when you're meeting with someone. When I really Wonder Woman is in my heart, it's because we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you don't know what's going on in somebody's life. You don't know what's going on behind the doors. They may look like they have it all together, but they don't. They may look like they have it all in a shambles, but you never know. This may be the opportunity that helps them get out of that. Even if they pick up the kit and they put it to the side, you never know. I constantly checked up on my team members over the time. One of the ones who was one of the founding members of Wonder Woman joined 3 years ago. That was the season in her life where she didn't need or want Mary Kay at that time. But now it is. Her kids are older. And so she needed something to do. And so she had been thinking about it, had been watching my stuff on Facebook. And so when I reached out to her, she's like, I was wondering. And it's just like, I don't know, when you go to church and they ask about the altar call, if anybody wants to stand up, and they just always tell us, reach out to somebody and see if they need, because sometimes they just need somebody to urge them. So just ask, and that's what a lot of the Wonder Woman is. It's just asking people, because sometimes they want to, but they're just waiting for the permission to say yes, and they get that by us asking. So I became with my Mary Kay this past year. The difference is that I became a little bit more intentional about my time, and I also learned it's not about what I want; it's about what they want. And somebody said, I think at seminar in her speech, she was like, "It's not. I don't care what they want. I just care that they get it." And so that's what my goal is with all my team members is I don't care what they want. You know, if they want to make $50, that's what they want to make is $50, and I'm going to help them do that. If their goal is they want to do more than that, I'm going to help them do that. I don't care what it is they want. I just want to help them get whatever it is because I have been in those different seasons in my life. And yes, don't get me wrong, I love the cake and I love all of this, but there was so much going on in the background, and I will admit, on the 30th, 4 o'clock, there's an emotional wheel somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I go through that emotional wheel a lot. And on 4 o'clock and 4:30, at 4, sorry, I didn't even bring it up. Jeannie showed us this a long time ago, and I have kept this with me. I always have a copy near my desk about the feelings wheel, because you never know where you're going to be, but you're always going to go around this feelings wheel. And at 4 o'clock on November, I was at stage 6. Why didn't they tell me? They lied to me. That's where I was at 4 o'clock on November 30th. I'm like, it's over. It's done. And my director kept trying to reach out to me, and finally I let her.
Were you ghosting her?
Yes. What?
Yeah.
What?
I said, were you ghosting Christine?
I was ghosting her, yeah. And so she's helped me center, so please, keeping connection with your director, it really makes a difference, even when you don't want to, because on stage 6 at 4 o'clock, I did not want to. So, but I did, and I refocused, and we went through the wheel, probably between 4 and 11 o'clock, I went through the wheel 4 or 5 times again.
The faster you go through it, the further you go.
Yeah.
That's the
And
difference.
the thing is, don't get stuck down here somewhere. I don't care what's going on. I mean, I've been in since I was 18, and when I saw this from Jeannie, I was like, oh, that's what it was, is that I didn't quit, because I knew eventually that I remembered the good times I had out of Mary Kay, and I remembered those times, and I wanted to get back to that. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I didn't know I was going through an emotional wheel. I just knew I wanted to get back to that happy point, and I knew what it took to make me happy again. So that's, I don't remember what I was supposed to share.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I didn't give you anything specific.
Okay.
I just said I would love for you to share your story.
So it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So tell us how your husband is feeling about all of this now.
That's a funny question. It was a funny answer. So he didn't, I don't know if he quite understood initially what directorship meant. We're empty nesters, by the way. Gabrielle doesn't live there, so it's just me and him, and he likes playing his games and stuff. So he congratulated me. He became more excited when he realized I was changing suits. And all of a sudden, we had to put it on the screen so that he could see it. And so, but yeah, he loves Mary Kay, period. And so he doesn't care where it is in Mary Kay that I'm at. He loves Mary Kay, and as long as I stay plugged in. There are a couple of times where I have ventured away from the studio for a bit, and he's like, you need to get back. You need to get back to the studio. I'm like, okay, I'll get back to the studio. So he's excited. He's excited, but he's more excited. He loves clothes. So
Well, and you also took him on an all-expense paid cruise on Mary Kay, so.
And that really changed a lot. When we did the cruise, and we were walking towards the beach. No, we're walking from the water. We had our little floaty things in Coco Kai, whatever Coco Kai.
Coco Key. Coco
Yeah,
Key.
Key. That's right. I know I pronounced it wrong. I don't remember what it was supposed to be. Coco Key. We were walking from it. We had been floating on the floats, and we were walking back to our little area where we were sitting. And he's like, they do this again. You've got to do this again. Going on, he's like, do this again. And it was the best thing ever was to be able to take my husband on this trip, all expense paid, where he didn't have to worry about a dime, because he always worries about, we're not going to spend this, we're not going to do that, we're going to find the cheapest hotel, $20, there it is. I'm like, no. That's by the hour, and we're not going to one of those. So he was ecstatic.
That's terrible.
That's so awesome.
Anyway,
That's awesome.
so
Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
I want you to share, you should share last December 1st.
last December 1st.
And just
Yeah.
how,
Year
So-
49.
Mhm.
Year 49.
My 49th birthday. Yes, last December we were in DIQ. We had not met our numbers. We ran to the end. And the thing I can tell you, everything is in God's timing. So if it hasn't happened yet, it's because it's in His timing.
Yes.
Because last December 1st at 2 in the morning or whatever, when Gabrielle called me, I was crying. And she's like, "Happy birthday, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "We missed it again. We didn't make it. I don't want to talk." And I
She's like, "You're ignoring my
I was down here. I was in stage 6. But
You wouldn't answer your phone.
I wouldn't answer. Yeah, I wouldn't answer. I wouldn't answer
was
my
ghosting
phone. I wouldn't do
everybody.
anything. And
She
so-
was.
So yeah, so it's not. So if you've ever felt negative or whatever, I've learned that happens in God's timing. I also know that if it had happened last year in the area where I was in growth at that time, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. God still had things that He wanted to show me, things He wanted to grow me through, blessings that I had to pick up along the way. I truly believe that through this journey, that along the way on this path, there are all these blessings that you have to pick up first. And it was in finding those blessings, and I found that when I focused on this stuff and not the promise at the end, but the glory that He gives throughout the day and through every moment, that when I did that and I just continued and continued and continued and did that, all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, where are we? What are we doing? And so I just so if it hasn't happened yet, there are blessings there. Just look for the blessings each and every day. And in the process of picking those up, you'll be surprised at where you end up. So,
How many times did you want to stop and he made you keep going?
oh, I kept begging him. I did. I begged him quite a few times. Please release me of this. And he was like, not today.
Yes.
Please release me of this. Not today. I'm like, oh.
Should get all these sales.
Like every time I'm like, this is it. I'm done. Whatever. Jennifer was me one day praying. She's not here right now. She usually sits here. That's why I'm pointing that way. I was one day praying, God, please release me of this. I don't, And then
When
the
you
next
say
thing,
release me of the goal, like release me of
Yeah.
directorship,
Yeah.
like and working
Yes.
towards it. Okay.
just release me of that. And then all of a sudden I get an email from somebody that I think is a scam saying, I want to join your team. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to join my team. So I sent her back a couple of questions that were like local questions, like where do you live? Oh, is it by the Kroger's or by the blah blah blah? And I knew the answer to that, and so she answered them correctly. So then I so it's little things like that. Or last December when that happened, and Jennifer again contacts me and says, I want to go to the meetings and I want to get in a red jacket. And I'm like, well, I guess that means I got to go to the meetings too. Because if she was going to be there, and if she was my team member, and again, there are people's dreams that are attached to you, and so she had been attached to me, and so I was like, okay, I got to get back. So I did. So to that I say, wherever it is, wherever you feel frustrated, if you're frustrated because a team member didn't contact you, if you pull up my phone right now, you're going to see all these texts from Friday that but companies have texted me their Black Friday sales or whatever that I did not open. Please do not take them negatively. We are getting inundated by texts. All of us are. I have so many of them that I didn't open from Fry's or Best
Yes.
Buy or whatever. And my husband always has taught me, one of the biggest things he taught me was that if you don't know, unless you call them and find out why they didn't answer your text or why they're not responding, anything you come up with in your head is a lie. If it's going to be a lie, right? If it's going to be a lie, make it a happy one, right? Why make it be like, oh, they don't want to talk to me, blah, blah. Why not be, oh, they're spending time with their family. They don't have time, or they just forgot, and they've been meaning to contact you. Why not make it that versus they're trying to stay away from me, blah, 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 blah. because if it's gonna be a lie, make it a happy one.
Oh, God.
Why make it a bad one? So.
Good, I like that.
And you know me, I'm always the last minute, but I come through. Every time.
She knows she can go.
I know.
She's like Pete Rose.
I know
She
the
just
last day of
slides
every
in.
month. I know the last day of every month between 11 and 11:59.
I got some girls like that.
She slides in.
I told her every time I promised her next month, I'm going to show up at your house at 8 a.m. and we're just going to
Look at the computer until 11:59.
Okay, so Joan had something she was gonna ask.
I'm not sure this is long enough for this thing to ask, but I wanted to share the fact that we got to witness firsthand the Rosette that walked through the door the very first time at the Pink Bee studio. And so she's talked about how much her women have grown and everything else in her journey. But personally, it's been an amazing journey to watch you grow and to see you blossom. Because I remember when we would have Red's Gone Wild, and she was so nervous to even like stand up there or talk to anyone. She's just like, I don't know if I want a job or anything like that. You know, just because of having to stand and be that, you know, have that attention. And so it's a beautiful thing to stand back here and watch you now and know that she literally just asked you today, and you didn't hesitate to jump up and to share with us and to teach us and to tell us your story. And I think that alone is a testament to like how much Mary Kay has grown you and how much he has just filled you with this opportunity. And so you're gonna make me cry. I've been holding it together this whole time. I am just so proud of you because I remember when you first walked through the Pink Bee and you were a totally different woman. You are truly a Wonder Woman, and I think that makes you the perfect example to lead your women.
Thank you. Thank you. You know why I became a red? And why I was nervous? The only reason I became a red is because this lady used to sit next to me in the studio. Back then we had
Oh, when
tables
we
of
had
red.
the red jackets at the tables, yeah.
And she sat with me over here because we weren't reds. And then she went red. I didn't have anybody to sit next to anymore. So I was like, well,
You never
I guess,
told me that.
Yeah. Well, then I need to get going. I need to get into red. Not because but because I needed to sit next to her because she wasn't sitting over here with me anymore.
So good.
I love you, friend.
That was the initial. So find your running buddy.
Yes.
Find somebody to run with.
And we met because of Mary Kay.
We did. We didn't know each other beforehand. You never know. Now we've gone on vacations together. Our
Yes.
husbands adore each other. So yeah.
I'd like to make a statement. I've watched, as Tony said, how you've grown, but when I was down and you have a message you sent me on my phone, I actually printed it out and it's on my bedroom wall. And every time I feel like you're saying that stage 6, I read what you wrote to me. And I will be honest, I do not see what you see in me, but I read it so I can see what you see in me. But my husband's read it, my sister's read it, and what you have said means a lot to me, and that you can see that in me, and I know that your unit will be wonderful, not just because that's not to make a pun, because you do see things in people that we don't see in ourselves.
Yes.
You see it and then you express it, but you do it in such a loving way with nothing in return. But you do leave a mark. And to this day, I want to let you know it's on my bedroom wall. It's next to all my goals, and I read it because I kind of can hear your voice. I said, Rosette sees this in me. I need to see it in me. And thank you.
Well, thank you. But it's true. I ask God all the time is God, just let me see people through your eyes. Let me see people through your eyes. You know, because even when you have family members and stuff that you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna love you. I don't know how I'm gonna love you. And so I'm like, God, I give up. I can't love whom I love. You just need to flow through me. You just need to flow through me.
see
Flow through me because I don't see it.
See him through God's eyes.
Yeah. And then he reveals this amazing beauty that makes me go, oh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this business is a people business, and we have to be willing to love people that
In
are
spite.
different than us and who think differently. But God knows them, and when you ask Him for that gift, you are a gift to those people, and I just think that's amazing. That's why you're gonna be a great leader.
Yes.
When I was 18 years old, those women did for me. I mean, I'm not kidding. I don't know how they put up with me for the first few meetings, but they did. They loved on me as if I was no different. And it was because they did that and there was no judgment that I was like, oh, maybe there is something there. You know, maybe. And that changed my whole life. My Gabrielle said third generation because it was her dad's mother who introduced me to Mary Kay, because she approached me and said, "You have very bad skin. Try this." Let me tell you though, the other day, I was at one of my favorite restaurants, and there was a girl there, and her skin reminded me of my skin back then, and she worked there. And I was too scared to say that, so I wrote her out a long note. I'm like, somebody told me this years ago, and at the time I was embarrassed and I was mad that they did, but 2 weeks later I forgave them and I was so thankful for it. So I'm gonna tell you, I have something for your skin, blah, blah, blah. And then I left my phone number on there and Gabrielle's Instagram thing so she could go see Gabrielle's skin. And then I left them for 2 or 3 days, she didn't contact me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to go back there.
I'm impressed.
So, and she contacted me. She contacted me and said I needed to research it a little bit. I want to try it. She tried it, and she now talks to Gabrielle more than me. And she sent her before and after pictures, and they are amazing.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
But it's because I stepped in. Maybe next time I know I need to probably go up and talk to her and get her room right there. I get
But
that.
hey, I mean, that's amazing. You're willing to leave a note, and she actually did.
Yeah.
You know, if you're that desperate and you know that, I mean,
I know how I felt back then. So
yeah.
if I can help somebody. Yeah, and that's another thing, is helping people get what they want. Sometimes what they want is clearer skin.
Yes.
Not be a team member or whatever, they just
Right.
want clear skin,
Yeah.
you know? Because I know how horrible I felt, and I know how insecure I was. And so when I saw her skin, I pictured myself before Mary Kay. So, but yeah.
I never saw that woman. I never saw that insecure.
No, she was there. She was there. So, anyway.
Is there anyone else that has anything that they'd like to ask or share?
Well, I don't always call her back, but she does reach out to me, which I appreciate, because I take care of my parents, I work, I have too much, and by the time I want to get to her, it's like late, and I'm like, am I supposed to be calling her this late? Or texting her back, so I don't. But I do watch her Facebook videos to try to learn, and I look forward to seeing what she posts and how she posts it, so I can do the same on mine and copy and paste it. And she does reach out, because at first I didn't know how to order, and I kept having all kinds of problems, and she would help me for the first couple times, and I said, I got this, but then I still wait to the last minute because I'm off doing something, and then I think I have enough time, and then things go wrong, or I'm at the last minute trying to figure out if I have the product that I don't have to order, and so it just takes me a while, but I come through, and then she says, awesome. So it's great.
But it's true. She doesn't contact me back. It's not because you hate me, right?
No, it's just because it's late.
They don't hate you.
But I do look forward to it. I look at it, and I feel good that she's, reaching out to me and asking me.
Anyway, thank each and every one of y'all. I mean, my
So keep
people
reaching
here.
out.
I will. I'll keep reaching out. So it's y'all being here all the time. It's being able to come to the studio that really helped change me for me. I just love this studio. I love you, Jessica. I mean, you are like.
That's my I love you more.
Oh.
We had so much fun.
Yeah, seminar. Seminar was amazing.
We were in the same car.
Road tripping makes for lots of
But
fun.
so thank you, Jessica, again for.
Thank you for being
this
able to
place.
share so last minute and give it up.
I don't know if you wanted me to share that. Oh, how I was.
It was perfect. It was perfect. You know, and I didn't know whatever God had for you to share is what I wanted you to share.
Okay.
So it was all good. So what I would like